I'd like to recognize the women of the world who are here. And I would like to ask the women of the world a question. What do you want? When do you want it? Sisterhood is important because there's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. We also acknowledge with appreciation the men who have come forward to stand for gender equality. But it is actually your responsibility. So we will not praise fishes for swimming. And we are all here to advance gender equality in the world.
140 have legislation on sexual harassment in the workplace. These are all to be celebrated. Africa is the continent with the youngest population in the world. It is a continent that holds the potential of the future we all want. When I look out at this crowd, I see the power and the strength of youth movement. I see the power of the LGBTQ+ community. This is your future, and you must have an opportunity to shape it. It is our duty and our responsibility to create spaces for your voices to be heard, to share the power we are privileged to hold, and we will.
Ijabo Life Center ni umujyanama ku myitwarire yirukana umuze mu mubiri ugacukubiri n'indwara za hato na hato. Egera aba bahanga rero bahanga muri iyo mihangayiko ituruka kuri stress cyangwa imirire mibi.
Mu Ijabo Life Center baragukorera reflexology ariyo nkanguramyakura, detoxification ikura imyanda mu maraso, hydrotherapy igabanya ibinure n'umubyibuho ukabije ikanasohora imyanda mu mubiri, aromatherapy ihashya indwara zifata imyanya y'ubuhumekero, ndetse na massage ivura ibibazo by'umugongo n'andi mavunane. Ijabo Life Center bakorera i Kigali
iruhande rw'ahahoze gare ya Kacyiru,
ahoroheye buri wese kuhagera,
hagamijwe ariko korohereza abatuye intara y'amajyepfo n'iy'uburengerazuba. Ijabo Life Center yabafungura ishami mu marembo ya gare ya Muhanga mu nyubako imwe na MTN ndetse na Sonarwa.
Wanahamagara kuri 0784373030.
Amagara mazima, igisobanuro cy'iterambere rirambye.
Thank you, Zuhura. I think the expression is give it up for Zuhura. Asante Sana, thank you. Wow, incredible and inspirational performances. Now we're going to get into some of those key remarks from our high-level dignitaries to continue this opening ceremony, this very special opening ceremony and historic occasion in Kigali. I would like to invite the chair of the board of Women Deliver to deliver some welcome remarks to us all. A round of applause for Mrs. Pumzile Mlambo. The floor is yours. Please, if you could, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to President Kagame and the government of Rwanda for hosting us so warmly. Thank you for making it possible for us to work in your country and to bring these wonderful women together. I also would like to recognize my sister, Excellency Sahle-Work Zwede, the President of Ethiopia. I'd like to recognize Her Excellency, the President of Hungary, Katalina Novak. And I would like to also recognize my dear brother, the Excellency, the President of Senegal, Macky Sall. I also recognize another dear sister. We're all sisters in Africa, just in case you didn't know. My dear sister, Madame Jeanette Kagame, the First Lady of Rwanda. Excellency, the First Lady of Namibia, Monica Gaingos, distinguished ministers, our dignitaries and excellencies, and the heads of UN agencies. And I would like to recognize with a lot of joy our young delegates. They rock. I'd like to recognize the women of the world who are here. And I would like to ask the women of the world a question. What do you want? What do you want? When do you want it? Okay, just checking. That being said, today we gather to officially open the Women Deliver 2023 conference. We are more than 6,000 decision makers, civil society, government representatives, the private sector, international agencies, women's rights organizations, youth-led organizations, LGBTQIA+ organizations, grassroots advocates, and we're all here to advance gender equality in the world. This is the first time we are meeting after the devastating pandemic. And I'd like us for a moment to remember the many people we loved and lost. I would also like for us to recognize that we are also meeting at crossroads. The world is at crossroads. Things can become better, or there is a high risk that they could be much worse. Not under our watch. Tomorrow has to be better than yesterday. We are facing right now the challenge of climate crisis. As my dear sister, Mary Robinson would tell you, if we don't stand up, we're doomed. We have to stand up, and we have to do it now. We have conflicts in the world. Mama Krasha will tell you about the risk of conflicts. We have racism in the world. We have homophobia in the world. And in all and many other challenges the world faces, the women are on the wrong side. So as we meet today, in the coming days rather, we have to address these issues. We have an opportunity as sisters and brothers to discuss together the steps we have to take. Sisterhood is important because there's a special place in hell for women who don't support other women. And we will not allow that to happen to us. We have young women and all other women. We have here some of our veterans and leaders like our former president, Ellen, who is here, and it is wonderful to see her today. She may look like a sweet 16 today, but she has a lot on her shoulders that we all stand on. We also acknowledge with appreciation the men who have come forward to stand for gender equality. And a number of them are in this house right now. We thank you for the work that you do, but it is actually your responsibility. So we will not praise fishes for swimming. We are here to make sure that those who may not recognize the privilege that patriarchy gives them and the fact that they have to renounce that privilege. Today, we are offering you the space to do that. Because privilege is not always obvious to those who have it. So, one of our themes in these next few days is about spaces that we need to create. We need to be inclusive, accessible, and to co-create. We want to bring together champions of gender equality from all sectors. We have co-created the agenda that we will follow, and we've had 60+ persons in our advisory group who represent all sectors, and 60% of the participants representing feminists of gender equality organizations from the Global South. Thank you for the work that you have done. I also want to welcome with appreciation the role and the contribution of young people in curating the process that we have today. I also want to thank the LGBTQIA+ or non-binary for being the experts in your own life and for making sure that we know exactly what you want and our role in your journey. So, theme number 2 is about solidarity. Ubuntu. I am because you are. Solidarity. I am because you are. We are facing unique sets of challenges since we convened in 2019. We have had COVID. Who would ever thought we'd sit in a big room like this without masks? It was unbelievable. But here we are, the resilience of human spirit. We also call on you to do everything in these coming days to make sure that you bring ideas that will help us to double or triple our efforts as part of our solidarity to fight against the climate crisis. We want to make sure that here we are in solidarity with all the women of the world who live and who have faced violence against them. And the third theme is about solutions. Over the past 2 to 3 decades, we have made enormous progress in gender equality. We are here to share the progress that we have made and the losses that we have made. We have solutions, we have evidence, we have actions and lessons that we can share with each other so that we strengthen ourselves as we move forward. Because forward ever and backward never. The solutions we need are political, are social, and are economic. We have to make sure that our momentum becomes unstoppable. The world has a crisis of leadership, and you are the ones we have been waiting for. Make it happen today. We have many young people who are here who have left their countries for the first time. And being here must be a turning point in their lives, where they will be the fighters for gender equality until it is achieved. It is not acceptable that we have 131 years predicted before we reach gender equality. Unacceptable. So all of us who are here today, we have to commit. We have to choose the actions we will take when we go back home. Each one of us cannot just go home and give a report. We get back home and we take life-defining action for gender equality. And to all our partners, thank you for bringing us here with all the support that you've given us. And thank you for the hospitality, the warmth, the amazing efficiency of the people of Rwanda. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. A loud round of applause. Thank you so much for those very poignant and meaningful words. I would now like to invite another important guest to the podium. UN Women has been instrumental in securing the centrality of human rights and gender equality. And with that being said, it is a great honor for me to invite Dr. Seema Bahous, the Executive Director of UN Women, who will be giving remarks here today on behalf of the UN Secretary General. If we could welcome her, thank you, to the podium. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Your Excellency, Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, Your Excellency, Macky Sall, President of Senegal, Your Excellency Saleh Work Zwedi, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Your Excellency Katalin Novak, President of Hungary, Your Excellency Jeanette Kagame, First Lady of Rwanda, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo Nkuka, my dear friend, Excellencies, fellow feminists, all protocol observed. I thank you, President Kagame, and the government and people of Rwanda for your hospitality and the generous hosting in this beautiful country. It is an honor to be with you today on behalf of the Secretary General of the United Nations, our feminist-in-chief, who sends you his very warmest regards. I also thank Women Deliver for organizing this landmark event on gender equality. This is truly an invaluable meeting of remarkable people, an assembly of committed and fierce feminists. I am proud to be among you all, and it is wonderful that we gather this year for the first time in Africa, a beautiful and inspiring continent, truly. We are here because we are committed to ensure that the women movement rises from strength to strength in solidarity. Women Deliver is the largest community of feminists, of the women's movement and its allies. It is indeed an unstoppable force. Dear Excellencies, fellow feminists, dear friends, we are here because we believe in the power and imperative of gender equality. We are here to celebrate and build on the women's movement, to applaud those who have shattered glass ceilings and to chart a path to shatter more and more. Today, we see pushback against gender equality and women's and girls' rights. It is potent and pervasive. We see regression on sexual and reproductive health rights, increased gender-based violence and discrimination. We see deeply rooted misogyny. In an era of polycrisis, including climate, conflict, and COVID recovery, that power and imperative of equality could not be more urgent. We know that a world with only one wing that spurns the power of women's leadership can never rise to the challenges of these crises and can never soar past them. Our hopes and aspirations for a brighter, more sustainable, more equal, and more peaceful planet hang by a thread. As we look ahead to the SDG Summit this September and the Summit of the Future next year, we must do so with renewed commitment, determination, and energy. We must continue to push forward. We are already doing this with inspiration from across the world. From Malala, who is with us here in Kigali. Malala continues to show us that even in the face of violence, girls do rise. To Zuhura, the African lioness, who inspired us all just now with her creativity and voice. We see it in the number of women in legislative positions that has doubled in a generation, in reduced global maternal mortality, and in women's increased life expectancy. 155 countries now have laws on domestic violence. 140 have legislation on sexual harassment in the workplace. These are all to be celebrated. And what a better place to celebrate them than here in Rwanda, a country ranked among the top 10 in the world for gender equality. Congratulations. Excellencies, we will not wait the estimated 286 years to close gaps in legal protection and remove discriminatory laws. We will not accept another day of ubiquitous violence against women or health inequality or child marriage. We will not accept the continued reprisals and intimidation against women's human rights defenders. We will not accept that women are excluded from peace tables, climate negotiations, and decision-making spaces. We will not, and we cannot wait. UN Women is honored to be working alongside all of you, governments, civil society, grassroots movements, media professionals, journalists, the private sector, all youth organizations in advancing towards progress. We do this because through our policy work, through our programs and advocacy, including Generation Equality, which offers a unique multi-stakeholder space to drive forward solutions and propel us towards our 2030 goals. We do this by ensuring that we have the tools we need, essential data, gender statistics, and information. We do this by crushing biases, intentional and unconscious, including in new technologies. And we do this by making sure that we engage men and boys, especially boys who grow up to become feminist men. Colleagues, Africa is the continent with the youngest population in the world, which means it is a continent that holds the potential of the future we all want. When I look out at this crowd, I see the power and the strength of unity. I see the power and the strength of youth movements, of adolescent girls, of young feminist leaders, of the grassroots movement and civil society. I see the power of the LGBTQ+ community. It is you we must and will stand beside and behind. This is your future, and you must have an opportunity to shape it. As multilateral organizations, governments, the private sector, it is our duty and our responsibility to create spaces for your voices to be heard, to share the power we are privileged to hold, and we will. United, we are unstoppable. Excellencies, friends, colleagues, feminists. These are precious 3 days. This is not only because of the inspiration and energy that we will share here. Being together, side by side, seeing close up the movement we are part of in its diversity and strength, these are gifts to cherish and to cherish for long. We are the ones who recognize what must be done, and in recognizing it, we commit ourselves to it. We are the ones who embrace the responsibility of change. We are the ones who devote our lives to breaking barriers, changing minds, reshaping systems and structures that exclude, that diminish, and that lessen. It is what we, as women, men, feminists, every one of us, in all our diversity, have promised to deliver, and together we will. Thank you.